Salibonani, Mabuyane, greetings, beautiful Zimbabwe. We are in the election season and there has been conversations about women's participation in the 2023 harmonized elections. According to statistics published by the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission on gender representation of candidates in the 2023 National Assembly elections, there are only 70 women contesting out of 637 candidates. My name is Bekezela Mguni, a journalism and media student, and today in my podcast I am talking to Mr. Mguni to find out if gender equality is possible in Zimbabwe. Why do we still have lower representation of women in political leadership? Mr. Mguni, and my question to you is about the women's movement. Where is the women's movement missing it when it comes to empowering women to take up leadership spaces? And please don't forget to reintroduce yourself, Mr. Effie. Thank you.
My name is Mguni. I am a political risk analyst, a policy analyst, a policy and social commentator on different issues. In terms of women's empowerment, I don't think that the women's organizations or women's movement is missing anything. I think it is actually society that is missing something. Our society, which is deeply patriarchal, does not understand or has at least not yet appreciated the fact that empowering women is actually empowering the entirety of society. And you cannot develop economically, socially, politically, or otherwise while leaving women behind. So the development, the inclusive development for any society starts by an inclusive approach to seeing women as equal citizens, girls as equal citizens, deserving of the equal and similar investments as those that are channeled towards men. It is important also that society realizes that the challenge that we have is that of power relations between men and women. We need to reorder those, reorganize those so that women are not disadvantaged by men who have all the powers, political power, economic power, resources power, and the like. So it is a societal problem, not a women's problem. So it is important that at the end of the day, all of us collectively as a society, we reorganize ourselves for the betterment of society through empowering women and girls.
So much for your explanation, Mr. Mguni. Mr. Mguni, it's got nothing to do with the women's movement. They are doing everything they can, but he blames patriarchy amongst other issues as a hindrance, an obstacle to gender equality in Zimbabwe. Mr. Mguni, what will it take for Zimbabwe to achieve equal participation in politics?
The political institutions and the political environment that is prevailing in the country was designed for men by men. So it is important that we rearrange that so that it is beneficial to both men and women equally. Currently, it is a challenge for women to access power, to access offices, not because they lack the capacity, not because they are not gifted as compared to men, but because of the barriers that have been put on top of them by a patriarchal institution that is prevailing in each and every sector of the political community. So we need to do something about that and make sure that the environment is open for women. That it should take into account access to resources, access to equal resources for campaigning, a safe environment out there for women to campaign, to offer themselves for election without being victimized online or physically, and so forth. We need to bring on board our pieces of legislation, strengthen them, and ensure that they punish those who go against women, either online or physically. We also need to relook into our constitution, relook into our policies, so that we change the political environment in a way that will make it conducive for women's participation.
Mr. Ncube, as we continue with the conversation, please explain to us who do we need on board for the political environment to be conducive for women's participation?
To achieve full equal participation between men and women, it will take an entire society to work together, men, women, boys and girls, and every sector of society. It will take our laws, our constitution, our adherence to international best practices, international agreements. It will take us to change our political culture, our social culture, patriarchal institutions, norms, and cultures. It will take us adjusting some of our religious practices. It will take us raising awareness amongst the young people at an earliest stage and changing the way we raise our sons and daughters at home. It will take everything, really, changing not just for political office, but also in terms of the access to opportunities at different levels, or be it sports, be it cultural aspects, arts, CEOs in companies, employment patterns, access to education, and all those things. It will take everything. Everything needs to change, because as things stand now, the norms, the practices, and the customs were built around men by men to advance men's interests. So we need to pull down all those and reconstruct our society so that it is built with men and women in mind, girls and boys in mind.
Mr. Ncube, in our conversation, you mentioned violence and patriarchy as some of the reasons why women shy away from politics. So my question to you is, how do we protect women that want to run for public office but are afraid of electoral violence and are victims of patriarchy?
The protection of women who want to run for political office requires a wide set of tools. The economic tools that will give them access to resources, because for you to campaign successfully for an office, you need a lot of resources. So we need to accept the fact that poverty is gendered, and we therefore in that accept the fact that the overall majority of poor people in the country in Zimbabwe are women. We need to deal with that, address that as a way of addressing lack of participation by women in political offices. We also need to strengthen our laws against the victimization of women, the intimidation of women and girls. We need to strengthen our community level, household level approaches to gender equality, so that we start earlier at the girl, boy, child level to ensure that they have equal access to resources. We also need to use our laws and our constitution to compel political parties to open their offices for women and to change the way they work and achieve a 50-50 approach to politics. That has to be compelled by the law. Otherwise, you are not going to get to a stage where women are equally protected. We just need to change everything that we have now, because it is not working for women and girls.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ncube, for availing yourself to help us understand what are some of the reasons why as Zimbabwe we have failed to achieve gender equality. Thank you so much, and I'm grateful to our audience who continues to listen to our podcast until the end. Thank you so much, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. It's the Girls Table. Go Twitter, it's table_girls. Facebook, it's the Girls Table. Instagram, it's the.girls table, and we have our YouTube page where we share most of our work. So it's the Girls Table again on YouTube. Until next time, thank you so much for listening to my podcast until the end. If you did not hear my name in the beginning, my name is Bekezela Mguni, your favorite podcaster. Until next time, from the Girls Table, bye.